Up next, a short how-to fix a DAT cassette video. This one here, the lid's broken on. I'll show you how to fix it. I have a digital audio tape that apparently has come apart. Oh yes, so we can see what we can do to fix this one. It looks like maybe the lid is broken. So I think what I'll end up having to do on this one is I'm going to have to take another cassette apart, because this has got some material on it that the owner wants to try and keep. Unless I can get this back together. I think this is broken. The lid on this one's actually broken, so we're going to have to take a lid off of another cassette to try to fix this one. These tapes can be quite finicky to work on. So I'll show you guys how to go about taking them apart for repair and how to get them to go back together once they've been taken apart, because as I say, DAT tapes can be kind of tricky to get at. Unfortunately, this is in the middle of the tape, so I think first things first, I might want to try to rewind this by hand if I can, just so that it's at the beginning, so that we won't damage the tape. Now on these units, these little hooks on the front here, this is what locks the tape hub. So I got to actually pull both of these forward so that I can wind the tape back by hand. And it's going to take me a few minutes, but let's release the hooks, and now I can just spin the tape back. I want the tape back at the very beginning before I do this, just so that the tape won't get damaged where there's going to be music. Not that I'm going to try to not damage the tape, but these tapes are pretty fragile. And then I'm going to find another cassette that I can take the either change the entire shell or just change the lid. I've got some short tapes that don't have anything on them. You know, they're old, very old tapes that I got, but they're short. Like they're short little, 10-minute or 15-minute tapes. So I can sacrifice one of those for the shell, just so that I can restore this one. And incidentally, what I'm using to turn this is just a standard screwdriver bit, right? They work fine for. They also work fine for 8mm. If you need to rewind an 8mm tape, right? You can use the same thing in an 8mm hub, and it will turn it. So what's wrong with this one is the pin that holds the lid to the cassette is broken. Now I could probably just change the contents over to another cassette, but I'd like to try and repair this one if possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bore a little hole right where the original pin was and try to thread a small screw in, which will, you see, can replicate the existing pin or the broken pin from the other side. So I'm just going to use the smallest of screwdrivers. These things are actually quite sharp, and they will drill right where the original one was. I can see where the original pin used to be right there. So let's try and drill a little hole using a screwdriver. Just like that. Okay, now that I've got the hole drilled in the side, I'll now see whether I can actually thread this screw through. I'll try it from this side first, or maybe even try just enlarging the hole slightly from this side. A little bit larger hole. Go from a 0.7 to a 0.9 millimeter. See whether that will allow this small screw to thread through. Now what I'm hoping is that now that I've got a screw threaded in there, I can put a smaller one in that's got a very, very flat head that will allow it to fit into the recorder without catching up on anything. That's my concern, is that if this protrudes too much, it's going to catch up on the cassette machine itself. But if I can get a pin in there to hold it, I can certainly either cut the head off and glue it. This only has to work a couple times just so that the owner of this can actually get the material transferred off of his tape and onto another digital format. So this is something that really doesn't need to last forever. It only needs to last long enough to transfer this material. Now that I've got a screw threaded into the lid, I should be able to put this lid back on. And I got to get this spring, I have to get it in position so that it will push the lid closed. It fits in under a groove on here. So if I open up the tape, if I open up that tape, oops, and then I can push the lid back in here into the hole on this side. I got to get the edge of this spring has to go under the edge here. It catches it on, there's a little groove there that I have to fit it into. Move my light over a bit so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, got that in place. Now I'll just tighten down this screw that will thread into the cassette, into the hole that the pin originally went into. And now this should open and close. And it does. It does open and close. And when it opens, it releases you see the two little locks here. So that'll allow the tape to turn. So let's dig up a DAT machine and see if I have success. I haven't used this little DAT machine in a while, so I want to make sure that it is working before I try another tape in it. Power. So this machine's working. Let's see if this tape will work or whether it'll fit. I'm concerned that it might hang up, but it isn't hanging up. Let's see if it plays. It's reading the absolute counter. Getting some errors off this tape, but that's not a mechanical problem. That's well, it might have been just some dropouts at the beginning of the tape. Sounds like it's playing good now, which is what we want, so let's rewind it. I filed it down a bit so that it's not, the head is flat now. So that should hopefully keep this tape alive long enough so that the owner of it can get his recording transferred over to another digital medium. That's how we work on DAT tapes, to preserve what is recorded on them. It's like this is from 1987. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.